Hello and good afternoon or good morning, depending on where you are in the world. And welcome to episode number 12 of High End Rollers TV. And do we have a treat for you today? Okay, we have the fabulous marketing genius Audria Richmond here today, and we are going to be talking about my favorite topics, which is how to create a personal brand and come out guns blazing and start to command premium pricing. So we're all about personal branding, we're all about money, we're all about pricing. So stay tuned, you're going to love this, and take some notes as well. So welcome, Audria. Thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you, love. I'm so excited to be here. I always admire my international interviews because, I get a lot of requests in the U.S., but, when you get an international interview, you got to suit up and boot up and get ready. So, thank you.
Thank you. So let me just give you a brief introduction, okay, as to who Audria Richmond is. So Audria Richmond is the branding and marketing genius and the founder of the Building Big Brand Agency, and it's a popular award-winning web and graphic design branding and marketing consultancy. And her genius lies in her ability to create stunning designs and coach digital entrepreneurs, small business owners, creatives and executive leaders and industry influencers on how to develop a profitable personal brand. And in the last 2 years, her clients have generated more than 1 million in revenue, all by tapping into the real essence of their passion and talents. So Audra is known for her straight talk, big personality, and Audra's work has generated nearly a dozen awards and has been featured in various top online publications, conferences, and podcasts. And also, she helps you to find what your superpowers are. So fabulous. I'm so excited to have you on here, Audria. And the reason why I'm personally excited is because I met you back in 2014, and this is when I just started to get online and when I just started my business. And we met in a paid community on Facebook. And right. I remember your journey. I remember exactly how you launched your business. And the one thing I really, really admire about you is that you came out straight out of the gate and commanded premium pricing. Now, as you know, I'm the client enrollment strategist, and I teach my clients to actually how to command premium pricing. And right. What I loved about you is that, you just came out and you just knew who you were and you knew the value that you offered. So I want you to really speak to us, share with us a bit about your journey. So just share with us a little bit about how you actually started and how then you transitioned into being an entrepreneur, and why is being a premium brand really important and how our viewers can actually do it too.
Okay, so I became an entrepreneur back in 2007, 2008. And around this time, I had started a photography business, a graphic design business, and I had gotten known really quickly in my hometown. And then
Memphis, where are you from?
Yes, Memphis. Mm-hmm. Yes, Memphis, Tennessee, in the United States. And one of the things in particular that I was able to capitalize on was my photography. And one of the biggest things was I wanted my photography work to be published. And I couldn't get it published. So one of my friends was like, why don't you start a magazine? I'm like, cool. Then in that case, I created my own opportunity and I didn't have to worry about begging people, hey, can you put my work on your cover? Hey, can you do this? So I got pretty known with the magazine, and I actually hit a ceiling in Memphis. I would call it market fatigue. It was kind of like that thing where I had worked with everybody. I knew everybody, and I felt like it was no hope for me, honestly, because everybody knew about me. I had taken pictures of mostly everybody. I had did graphic design for mostly everybody, at least that was in my circle and that I was affiliated with. And I, for the life of me, I couldn't think outside 38115, okay? Like that. In Memphis, one of the zip codes. And one of the things in particular that stood out to me was like, okay, I started hearing about online marketing. I was like, what is this? This is interesting. You mean to tell me I can sit at my computer and I can make money and all of that stuff? So I started writing down all of my skills that I had. Like, I was a professional photographer, professional graphic designer. I had done publishing. I've created products. I had sold out events. I was featured on TV and things like that in Memphis. But I was like, how do I transition that online? And how do I transition that online in a strategic, cohesive way where it's not overwhelming or it don't look like I'm doing too much? So I said, well, what can I get into? So what really got me into branding was that I was seeing a lot of people call themselves branding gurus, but how they showed up wasn't a match. And I seen that gap because, you know, either they were really good at what they do and they sucked at branding, or their branding was good and they sucked at teaching. So, and I felt like I could fill the gap in both parts and really show up in a masterful way. So I decided to do just that. I said, I'm a brand Audria Richmond, because all of this time I was hiding behind a company. You know, I was Newbie Creative Images. I was Rich Innovative Consulting. Like, I was all of these little businesses. And I decided to step into my power and be me. Audria Richmond, this person who always have tons of ideas, who's always challenging the norms, who's always wanting something different. And I launched myself online. And what was interesting about launching myself online was that it's like I was doing things that were supposed to be done that way, but unconsciously. Like, I was like, you know what, I'm just going to record a video. It was called 10 Steps to Launching a Premium Brand. Tell people, hey, I'm your girl. I can do branding and marketing. You know, here's my credentials. Because by that time, I wasn't starting fresh. I was new to online, but I wasn't new to business. Because by this time, I had been in business by 5 years. So during this time, people were like, okay, you mean to tell me you've done this, this, and this? And this what was confusing to people when I entered into the market. People would see me and I showed up way more polished than a person who's new. Does that make sense? Like, most newbies, when they come out, they look new. They look like newbies, right? And I made it clear that how I showed up in my position, it wasn't going to look like I just started yesterday, even though I probably had just started yesterday. And it was amazing how I launched online, because people were confused. They were like, I thought you said you just got started with online marketing. I'm like, I did. Well, why is this going on? Well, I have experience, and it showed up in my newness. It showed up in my launching phase. And I immediately took off running. And,
you did, yes.
I went across, I didn't do what everybody else was saying. Everybody was saying, well, you'll do okay. You got to start with a $47 product. You got to start with a $97 product. And I was like, man, bump that. Just because I'm new online doesn't mean that I didn't have experience before being online. And I'm not going to discredit that because I'm online, right? Because I think when we come online, we forget about everything we know how to do for some reason.
So true.
Right? It's like, oh, I forgot I did do that. Oh, I forgot that I was able to secure sponsorships. I forgot, it's like we get crazy or something. So
let me just stop you there, though, because you said something really key. And then you said that you positioned yourself as a certain something. Okay, so you positioned yourself. So, we know that personal branding is all about perception. So it's all about what people think of you and whether they think that you're a high brand or a low brand. So you just came out immediately out of the gate. Yes, you had all this business knowledge, but you was completely new online. But you positioned yourself in the hearts and the minds of your audience as someone who was high value, who was premium brand, and who knew her stuff. So tell me exactly, how did you know how to do that? Was that something that just came naturally, instinctively? Because I speak to so many people that have no idea about that.
For me, it was easy because I love to learn. Okay. I love to read. And I love to, this is where confidence comes in place, and not necessarily just me, just like in general. I feel like you become very comfortable and confident when you know for a fact that you know your stuff. People who have a lack of confidence don't know their stuff. That's that's the only thing that keeps a person from being confident and not confident. When people say I'm a confidence coach, I help people with their confidence and this, that, and third, you're really just you're just really helping that person get clear on who they are as a person and or in their business, getting clear on what they offer and what they sell. So for me, I was very confident in my ability to be creative. I was very comfortable in my ability to be different, because a lot of people were looking the same. And I knew that if I came out looking nothing like these people, as I like to make reference to clones, as long as I don't look like these people, I know for a fact I would have an advantage. And that's what made me confident in what I was doing, because I didn't necessarily look like everybody else. I didn't feel like everybody else. My tone wasn't like everybody else, even though I was using some of those similar strategies that I was learning in these programs. I always challenged that. And I was like, that's cool, but what if I do this? You know, and for me, knowing that I was always challenging things and knowing that I was comfortable being a creative, that's how I was able to show up like that.
Absolutely. And you showed up like that as well because you had a particular point of view. Okay, so as I mentioned, I've been following you since 2014, and you've got a specific point of view and a specific way of doing things. And one thing I really admire about you, and what I tell people all the time, is that you must have an opinion. You really must have an opinion, and you must have a strong, firm belief in something. And the good thing about that is when you've got that strong belief in something, that it polarizes your audience. So, you know, you've got a section of the audience going to be like, yeah, Audra, yeah, I agree with that. Oh my gosh, she's my girl. That's brilliant. Yes. And then you've got some people that's like, oh my God, Audra, she's just too much. I can't be right. No, I just don't want to do it. But that's what you want because you know something. That's how you make the most money by being polarized. What do you think?
Yes, I absolutely agree with that. And I think one of the things that made me stood out very immediately is that while all the new girls was coming online charging little cheap rates, I was like, you can have that, girl. I'm going to do this. And all of them looked at me like I was crazy. You know, who are you? You don't have a big fan page. You don't have you don't have a big email list. You know, you haven't put on a huge conference. You haven't had a live event. You haven't wrote a book. Like all of these different things that determine that you should charge premium rates. And I was like, okay, if that's your story, cool, but that ain't mine. And I was able to prove that by showing up and actually getting the results.
And listen, I'm just excited because you're talking my language. I love this. I'm just getting really excited, and I'm laughing as well because I remember this. Because I remember when you first came out and you've done your website, and just a 1 hour consultation with you was $549, and I remember that. I remember, and you can. Oh my God, you can do that. And that's why I had to have you on here today, Audra, to let these people know, to let everyone know that you can do it. You know, there are so many marketers out there that teach, you know, you have to have a $49.99 program, a $5.99 program, you know, everything that ends in 9 or everything that ends in 7. And don't have to do that. The people that do that is fine and it works. However, they have got massive lists. They've got a big audience already.
They can afford to do that.
Exactly. But when you're just starting out, or when you're, you know, when you're just coming online, you can't do that. So the most important thing that you need when you're starting out is cash flow.
Yes. And recurring revenue. You know, a lot of people, even if your recurring revenue is like not a membership site, as long as you have some type of contractual process where you are able to get recurring revenue, that puts you at ease. Do you know how great it feels knowing that, okay, on the first, I'm going to get X amount of contracts and payments. Woohoo! You know, you're not actually thinking about a lunch all the time. And I think people stay in lunch mode all the time. And that's very stressful.
It is stressful.
You don't know how you're going to make money. So I think understanding how recurring revenue works is always genius, you know? So, yeah.
Also, I know that there are so many entrepreneurs that are just starting out. They've either in the middle of thinking of leaving their corporate job, or they've already left. But one thing that I'm asked all the time in my community is, how do I transfer my knowledge from my past business, from my past job, into my current business? Because I had the security of, you know, working for a company, but there's no way that I could say that I've achieved all of this, being an entrepreneur. So how do you navigate through that?
I feel like it's actually quite easy. I think we make it way harder than what it is. I felt, this is what I did. I wrote down all of the skills that I have. So I was like, well, I could do this, 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 and this, right? And then I looked at the role and how I wanted to show up. I wanted to show up as an expert that knows about branding, but not just know about it, but actually can do it.
Yes.
Because, I know about how your website should operate and how it should convert, but I also know how to build a website. I know how your branding and mood board should look, but I also know how to create those things. So it gave me a huge advantage over the people who taught branding, because I could show and tell, right? And I think when you know how to show and tell, that gives you a major advantage. So I know for me, when I started to put myself out there and do those things, it was very important for me to, I guess, demo my expertise and find bits and pieces of when it was congruent. Because sometimes all your skills are not going to apply to what you're doing right now. But if you know for a fact that the skills that you currently have, you're going to move that into your current brand, then you want to figure out, how do you either merge that into your story? How do you merge that into your content? How do you merge that into your platform? You want to have a reference point so people know that you ain't just started out. You're not new to the game, as they say, right? So, yeah.
Brilliant. So tell me then, how did you find your first high-end client, and would you mind sharing with us? I mean, I personally, would you mind sharing with the rest of us what the fee was for your first high-end client?
Okay, so my first high-end client was for $5,000. And I met this client online in an online community that I was a part of. It was a paid community. And this is why it's so important for people to make investments, because they're always thinking that, oh, I'm going to find my biggest client in a free Facebook group. And the truth of the matter is, some of my greatest connections have come out of paid communities, very similar to how you and I met. So when you look at putting yourself in environments with like-minded people, primarily paid communities, paid, okay? When you put yourself in those type of environments, I think it's really cool how it works, because you naturally get to meet people who are on the same level and the same frequency as you. Because if you don't, you tend to run into a lot of people who are not ready, who are unprepared, who don't want to do what it takes. And honestly, that's energy sucking. Okay. So for me, being in that kind of community, in that place, that's how I was able to meet my high-end client and several high-end clients after that, because it was kind of like a ripple effect. I was closing these contracts like back to back. So, and that was mainly because I was in a lunch and didn't even know it. I was just launching a video, and the video turned into sales conversations, which I didn't know was sales conversations. I thought it was just, phone meetups, and those turned into sales. And I was like, can I do this again? And that became like my number one selling strategy. So, and then the other thing is, I've always been super humble. I think that's another reason why people are attracted to me, because despite my resume, I still know how to relate and have a conversation with people, regardless of where they are. I don't see myself as this, super high level person that you can't get in contact with, but I do have boundaries, right? I do have a limit of how far I let you get close to me and what we talk about and things like that. So
that's really true, because you've got a podcast. You're very open on your podcast. Your periscopes, you've got a large periscope following, and you're very, very open and honest on your periscopes, and you have really good engagement. And I do believe that's really important, because you find that some top level entrepreneurs, they feel like a bit above you, you know what I mean? But you're not like that at all.
Okay, so I feel like the people who want to hide tend to attract the marketers who like to hide. And the people who want to be real and honest and transparent and authentic are the ones who tend to like me, because they know I'm not going to tell you anything that, I give you an example. When people buy my services, actually, I always like to try to propel people from buying from me. I know they sound crazy, but I want people to know what they're signing up for and what it takes before you sign up. So, when clients sign up for websites, I'm like, okay, here go the checklist. Do you have these things? Otherwise, you're going to waste my time and I'm going to waste your time. And I want to make sure that we both understand this before we waste any time. So I think being honest and being transparent with people, even before you land the sale, puts you at an advantage, and it makes you feel good about yourself, because you're not out here just clowning people or taking people money.
Exactly. And you also mentioned something about the way you attract clients, because people always find it, well, I don't even know why, because you know, there's always talk about, you know, how to attract clients. You're not attracting clients, all of this stuff. And it isn't actually difficult to attract clients. What I find is that when you are yourself, okay,
yes,
when
and
you
not nobody else, right?
you know, and also when you've got an opinion, when you're
Yes.
showing up, when you're letting people know that you're in business, you will attract clients. That's just a simple fact. And also, what you were saying is that when people come to you, they know what you can. They know what they're going to get. Okay, so it's like when my clients come to me. I attract a lot of extroverts because they think I'm an extrovert, and I'm actually not actually. You know, I attract people that are extroverts. I attract people that want to do video. They're scared to do it, but they want to do it. You know, I attract people that, you know, they have a big message and they want to get it out there as well. So, and I think that we're on the same page in terms of that.
Right.
So share with me then, what would be your tips then in order to position yourself as a premium brand straight away?
First off, understand that you can get it. That's the like that's the first thing, right? You got to know you can get it, because it's going to show up in your body language. It's going to show up in your copy. It's going to show up in your brand. It's going to show up in your energy. If you come on the scene and you like, yeah, I'm gonna charge premium rates, and you get on, let's say, Periscope, and you like, yeah, hello everybody, hi, and you don't show up powerfully, like, people gonna be like, man, get out of here. They're not gonna take you seriously, right? Yeah. So I believe the first step is understanding that you can get it. Also, the second thing is understanding that you're not going to be for everybody, right? You're going to have some people who's going to think you're absolutely crazy. Who are you to charge that? And you're also going to have some people who like, man, you know what? I'm going to have to get my life together because I want to work with this person, right? So that's another thing to look at. The other thing that comes with premium pricing is having boundaries and having expectations and knowing that you can deliver result. Because when you know that you can deliver result, you no longer are connected to the premium positioning or the pricing or the money or anything, because it's kind of like you're throwing the ball back into that person's court, because they have to make that decision. Do I want this experience? Because when you know that your experience is legit, and you know for a fact that your experience can yield results, and you know for a fact that you know your stuff, trust me, it's easy, you know? And I make it look, I'm actually gonna put a shirt together. It's gonna be called I Make It Look Easy. And because I feel like, you know, even though I make it look easy, it's still challenging, because I do run into people. And I'm gonna tell you, the only reason I have never made, if I did make a sale, was not because the person didn't have the money. It was because they didn't believe that they could make the change, period. You know, and I think people get caught up in, oh, they didn't have the money, so okay. No, we're dealing with mental issues, mental blocks, mental perspectives that people refuse to change. So yeah.
That's true. And that's the thing, you see, when people hire us, they have to believe and know that they can change. Yes, they might have a little faith, or yes, they might have a little fear, but we can help them in that area. We have enough faith for them, you know. We can help them in that area. So that's really, really key. And you said something really key there, and you said that you have to know that you get results. Some people are so afraid to say that they can get these results, and especially working in the service-based industry, because they might say, you know, I can't guarantee results. You know, what if they don't get results? What would be your answer to that?
Well, for one, and this was something that I had to come to realize, you're not responsible for that. And I think, you know, just because I can get results doesn't mean that if you hire me, you're going to get that too, because it's a co-creation process. Like, you have to show up. I have to show up. You have to do the work. I have to make sure that I guide you in the right direction. So yeah, I can get results, you know, contingent upon you working with me and you helping me getting this result together. So I would say, you know, if you don't believe that you can get results, or if you are one of those people who say, I don't guarantee results, then you might want to revisit your plan, because I know for a fact that I can get you a result, but I can't get you a result if you're not going to follow my way of doing things. You know what I mean?
Absolutely perfect.
Which means that person has to trust you, right?
Yes.
So, yeah.
And when you've actually positioned your brand correctly, what you'll find, or what I find with me as well, is that you know, because you're delivering value, you're sharing your expertise, you are gaining that trust.
Yes.
Because people don't realize that when you're actually going to hire someone, they're seeing you on a consistent basis. So they're seeing your Facebook Live posts, they're on your list, they're watching your Facebook, your Periscopes. So what's happening there is that you're actually branding their minds to believe exactly what it is that you do, and they trust that you're the expert. You know, they trust that you can get results. So what happens when they come on a sales call with you? They already know. They already know, because of all the value you put in that you can get results. So when it comes to having the sales conversation and you say your fee, it's not going to be any massive objection fest, because they know you've already told them and they can see it already.
Yes, that is so true. And you know, just to add on to that, how people do their research. You know, for some, it amazes me how people don't think that people do their research. Do you know how long I would research or read a book? Like, you know, you would think, oh, just go buy the book. It's only $15 or however much it is, right? And I'm like, no, I want to see the reviews. What people saying, even though it's $15. So people do their research regardless of the price or regardless of the fee. So I 100% agree with that.
Brilliant. Audra, this has just been absolutely fantastic. I'm so glad that we've spoken. We have spoken before, actually, several years ago. So this is our second time actually speaking face to face like this. And I know that our audience has got massive value from this. What's the one takeaway that you want our viewers to take away right now?
Challenge the norm. Like quit being average, quit being like everybody else. Like, oh my God, like, let me say this, because I'm so glad you asked me that. I had this major breakthrough last night. I was talking to my husband, and I was actually stressed out for like the first part of this year. Like, I didn't lunch, I didn't product lunch, I didn't do anything. And what I was finding was that I kept on trying to do this method, this blueprint that wasn't congruent with me, that wasn't something that I wanted to do, and it was something that I was uncomfortable with. You know how you get a formula and people say, all you got to do is send them to this and have them do this and blah, 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 right? And I was finding that that wasn't comfortable to me. But even though it was uncomfortable, they said it was right. They said I had to do this. So regardless of my uncomfortness, I still have to do it because they said it was right. And it wasn't until I said, they could be wrong. This doesn't feel right. How would Audria do it? And when I did it that way, it was the most fulfilling thing ever, because I wasn't doing what everybody else was doing at this point. And I realized that it's okay to not fit in the box that everybody is jumping into.
That's completely right.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Audra. This has been fantastic. What I want to ask you now, though, are you ready to roll?
Yes, I am ready to roll. Let's roll, baby.
Yes. So this is the section where I'm going to be asking you quick fire questions. Just give me those answers straight back. Quickly, okay? So
let's do it.
What is your favorite book?
The E-Myth by Michael E. Gerber.
Yes, I remember that. You've been saying that for years. What do you think, what would you say is your biggest weakness as an entrepreneur?
I would say not trusting my first instinct.
Oh, okay. Nice one.
Yes.
So what's your strength?
Being creative. I could creative somebody to death. I'm creative. So yes, my creativity.
And be sure to subscribe to to Audra's Facebook, because she is massively creative. I'm going to put the links below anyway.
Yes.
Also, what would you say is your favorite quote?
My favorite quote is, be the change you wish to see in the world.
Yeah.
Yes.
Beautiful. What is the one thing that you hold to be true that other people will disagree with?
Thinking that you have to do everything to be successful. You don't.
You don't, yeah. And what about, just the last question, what do you wish you knew years ago that you wish that you knew now?
Marketing and automation. Goodness. I would be a millionaire by now if I knew what I knew today.
Marketing and automation.
You thought it was going to be so powerful, right? Like, oh, I wish my dad would have told me I was more beautiful. No, it was marketing and automation. I know, weird.
Oh my God. Listen, Audria, you're just phenomenal. And just to let you all know, Audrey is a six-figure premium brand, okay? She made six figures very, very quickly in her business. And, that's why she's here. She's on High-End Rollers TV. And that's what we're all about. We're all about high-end rollers, okay?
Yes.
So thank you so much, Audrey, for joining us. I'm going to put all of Audrey's links below. You need to subscribe to her Periscopes because you're on there about every day, aren't you?
Not really. I actually went back a little bit, but you look, I pop up when I need to. I'm like, I'm live. So yeah.
I love watching your Periscopes because it's like whatever's going on right now in your business or life, you just write the title. I'm like, yep, we're talking about this right now.
Yes.
And that's something. That's why we can connect with you, Audra. Okay. So be sure to subscribe to Audra's channels. Links are going to be below. And thank you so much for joining. Congratulations for joining us. Okay.
Thank you. I so appreciate it.
Brilliant. And I'm going to see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.